Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nelson Nightline, Shaw Cable's live phone-in talk show. I'm Morrie Zaitlin, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my regular co-host, Marianne Bond. As corporations downsize and the labor market continues to shrink, we find more and more people looking to self-employment. At the same time, many other aspiring entrepreneurs find themselves without the experience or working capital to take that final leap of faith into their own business. One local business organization in the West Kootenay that many people have turned to help them over some of the hurdles in starting their businesses is the Kootenay Regional Economical Development Association, better known as KREDA. KREDA is a business development center under the Federal Community Futures Program. Its mandate is to provide community-level economic development and expand stable employment opportunities for the residents of the Central Kootenay area. On tonight's show, viewers will have the opportunity to find out more about KREDA and both its business loans program and self-employment assistance program, as Marianne and I talk to KREDA's Ray Paul and Kay Ryan. If you have any questions tonight you'd like to ask our guests, please call in. Our number tonight is 354-4200. This show will be rebroadcast on Friday at 11 a.m. and on Sunday at 8 p.m. I'd like to introduce my co-hosts tonight, Marianne Bond, and my two guests, Ray Paul and
Kay Ryan.
Kay Ryan. Sorry,
Good
Kay.
evening, Morrie.
Good
Good evening, Ray. Kay.
Good evening.
I think we were going to start with you, Ray, if you could tell us a little bit about the Business Development Center and the loans program that you administer there. And
Thanks,
then we'll go
Marianne.
to Kay.
The Business Development Center basically is a program that was implemented under the Employment and Immigration people. Several years ago, they were looking for a way to try and put the onus back on the communities to take responsibility for their future economic growth. And they established a program called Community Futures. And one of the options of Community Futures is the Business Development Center. And the Business Development Center is established in areas that have record high unemployment levels, with the understanding that it would provide business financing, counseling, and training to people that are either in business and looking to expand, or to new entrepreneurs that are going to start up something in the form of a new venture. The significance to the Business Development Center is that we are probably technically the lender of last resort. Before we can look at a business venture, it needs to have been reviewed and declined by the Federal Business Development Bank. And many times you'll find that at that point, clients will have also talked to their chartered banks and for whatever reason will not have been able to find funding there. The intention of the lending program is that we are interested in creating new permanent full-time jobs in the Kootenays. That's the primary focus for us to look at a lending proposal. We're interested in the quality of the jobs. We're interested in the permanence of the jobs. We want them to be here for a long time, to be able to, bless the lives of the folks that are involved in the Kootenays and make sure that we can offer opportunities for employment to both our youth as well as those folks that are moving in and the folks that live here. The concept of the Business Development Center is that we will work on a very hands-on basis with clients. They come to us many times with an idea, if not a lot of experience in how to put together a proposal or a business plan. And we work with them to help them develop their ideas, give them guidance and direction in researching their markets to make sure that they do have a viable opportunity waiting for them. And then if funding is not available, many times we can involve ourselves as the lender to provide financing for them. We are limited in the amount of finance that we can provide. The maximum loan size for us to any single entity is $75,000. And we are also having, it's not really a limit, if you will, but it's a criteria that's been developed by our board that says that we're also interested in certain specific amounts of employment to be created for the loans that we provide. The average ratio is about $7,000 to $10,000 that we would lend for each permanent position that's created. It's been a good program. The BDC's been operating in the Kootenays now for 6 years. We've lent money to 126 different businesses. A total of 549 full-time jobs have been created for a total of our investment of $2.8 million. We have found, though, that for every dollar that we invest, the business community, the entrepreneurs themselves, put in an additional $2, or 2-for-1 ratio. So we're looking at a significant amount of money that's been put into the the Kootenay economy just by a small program like ours. So we're
Excellent.
excited about that.
I guess one thing we should say is, where are you located in
Where-
Nelson for people that might not know?
Our office is located at 540 Baker Street, which is upstairs in the old Ashton's Ladies Wear building next door to the Woolworth store. It's located upstairs. The one concern we have with our location is it's difficult for people that are handicapped to find us. And so what we've got is a situation where if somebody who is disabled and not able to climb the stairs to our office would call us, we'd be more than happy to meet them on their own turf, in their home or their office, wherever.
Excellent. Great. Okay. Kay, you're the Self-Employment Assistance Coordinator.
That's
Is that
correct.
right? Could you tell us a little bit about that program?
Well, the Self-Employment Assistance Program is also another job creation initiative funded by Canada Employment. And it's for people who are on income assistance or UI that would like to create a job for themselves by starting a business. It's an income replacement program. So what the government does is they take them off their current benefits, either of UI or income assistance, and they put them onto the C program. Now what that means is that they'll continue to receive their UI benefits for the first year while they're establishing their business. And if they're on income assistance, what we do is we give them a monthly allowance, depending on the number of dependents that they have, to assist them in that first year.
Excellent. Now you've brought some stuff here behind us. We don't have our regular backdrop here. In terms of businesses that both programs have helped to
Have
start
assisted,
within
that's
this
correct.
region. Maybe you can just mention and point out a few. I don't know if we can get a close-up on some of them, not all of them.
Well, one of the things that we've got is quite a broad assembly of businesses. We have businesses ranging from manufacturing to service to retail, tourism industries. And what we've decided to do is give you a cross-section of each of them. Some of the clients you see here will be loan clients. Some of the clients here are self-employment assistance program clients. And some of them will be combinations where both programs have come into play. But I think if they have an opportunity to pan some of those pictures, that you'll see that there are some familiar names from the
Maybe
Nelson
we
area.
can just start behind Kay and move across. I don't know how many they'll be able to pick up. It's Goose Creek Lumber that's right behind you there, Kay.
We had them on the show the other
Yes.
day.
And Rooftop Futons.
Right.
That's in Nelson as well. Carol Taji Design. One, unfortunately, that I don't think the camera can pick up behind you, Ray, is Kootenay Country Lamatrex. And that's up the valley, I
Yes, in the
believe.
That's
Spokane
right.
Valley.
Right.
And what exactly is it that they do?
They basically provide a service to the tourism industry. They provide the opportunity for people to use the llamas to carry their packs as they trek back into the Valhallas and explore some of the more remote wilderness areas that there are up the valley.
Instead of horses.
That's right. And you have to do the walking. The llamas carry your packs.
Right.
And
Boardwalk Enterprises.
And that's
making
located.
windows.
Windows and doors, that's correct. Out in the Thrums area.
And then
Fashions by Nadia and Hellemond Sports, both clothing manufacturers.
is Fashions by Nadia here in town?
Just a little outside of town.
And Kootenay Manufacturing.
Kootenay Manufacturing, this is one of the ones where we partnered some of our operation with some charter bank financing to assist in a package for the company.
Wonderful. And behind me is Heritage Roofing and Wood Valance Hardware and the Savoyan Banquet Hall.
Right.
Morrie, can you catch the
Kurt's
line?
Old Country Forge out in Creston, I guess.
That's
Yeah.
correct. That's the
Yeah.
blacksmith.
Of the 2.8 million and what, 500 and some odd 50 jobs, what's your success ratio been? How many companies have remained in business over the past 6-7 years?
Actually, we've had a really good success ratio. Given the fact that we're looking at a significantly higher risk than most of the conventional lenders are, in any given year, we're running probably a bad debt ratio of between 8 and 10%. That should be clarified. It's not necessarily loans written off, but loans that we've had some concern with.
Non-performing. in one way or the other.
Non-performing at that point. Many of those loans with counseling and work will actually come back to be performing loans that will be repaid.
Well, they're not all small businesses, obviously. I mean, Goose Creek Lumber and obviously Kootenay Manufacturing are big companies. So you're dealing with all size businesses, obviously.
It's a broad cross-section. We try to, as again, our interest is in employment creation, and we're interested in the small single operator as well as companies the size of some that we have here.
What about existing businesses?
The same criteria applies. Our focus is not so much the lending arm as we're interested in job creation. And one of the strengths of an existing business is that it's quite often financially sound, has good management, and is quite often very nicely poised to take advantage of a change in the marketplace that's going to allow some new program or opportunity for them to grow. And we're interested in helping. Those are sort of really good opportunities for us to get involved, where there may be an expansion that is not possibly financed through the existing lenders, and there's going to be some good job creation involved, and we're definitely interested in looking at those.
The link between the two programs, you're both part of KREDA. How are you linked? Your people can potentially open up their own businesses and get loans if they need it, or?
That's correct. With the Self-Employment Assistance Program, which we also call SC, they have to be a brand new business. It's not one that has, and it has been in existence before. Whereas Ray can deal with both new businesses and existing businesses. But quite often our clients do overlap. They do access both programs.
So this would be people that are on other assistance programs, whether it's a UI benefit or something like that?
That's right. It's an income replacement program because the government feels that these people would have been receiving benefits anyways. And they realize that we have a very high unemployment rate in the area and jobs are very scarce. So they give them the opportunity to create a job for themselves.
And guiding them through the process?
Yeah, it's quite a process, and we go through the whole year together. We offer them counseling and courses, and we're in very close contact with them throughout the year.
So it's about a year-long process to help somebody set up their business.
That's right.
And they would do a business plan?
Well, the first year is always the crucial year,
yes.
you know, so we're there for them.
What has your success ratio been, Kay?
It's been very good. And we ran the SEI program just prior to this one for 4 years, and we had approximately a 90% success ratio on the program. Still a little too soon to say that's the way it will continue, but I would say it would be well into the 80% range.
And how many jobs were created from
Well,
that?
we've started 257 businesses between the SEI program and the SEA program, and that's a total of about 433 jobs.
And just for people that don't know, the central Kootenay boundaries are where exactly?
That's right. It's a large area that we covered.
Well, the regional district actually, the same official boundary as our area. It stretches from Yak over to Salmo, north through both sides of the Kootenay Lake, through Crawford Bay, Caslow, Ryandell, Nelson, Castlegar, and then right up to Galena Bay. So there's a large amount of territory that's covered by the program.
Is that a normal sized territory within the Community Futures program?
No, in the province it's one of the 3rd or 4th largest territories. For comparison, the community of Trail, Rosslyn, and Warfield have a business development center that looks just after that one section of the area. So this one was an initiation that was started by the regional district, and at the time that it was set up, they chose to go with the full regional district boundaries, and it's been a challenge. The travel is considerable, and but it's also been really rewarding to be involved with the various communities that we have. We have 9 municipalities and many, many more unincorporated areas that we work with. And we have clients in all of them.
How many other people work within the KREDA organization, KREDA office?
There are 4 staff, Kay and myself, and there's a business analyst, Paul Wiest, that has the function of doing most of the loan reviews on the lending program. And in addition to that, our receptionist and stenographer is Lynn Locke, and Lynn is probably the first person that most people will come in contact with at KREDA as they come through the door or on the telephone.
And you people covering the whole area, people come into your office, or do you travel out to the outlying areas to meet with people?
Today I was in Cascar.
Yes, eh?
Paul was in Necasp.
So you service the community
We
by
should,
going out to the community as well.
One of the things we recognize is that a program like this needs to reach out into the communities, and so within the limits of the budget we have, we try to be out in all of the major centers in the communities at least once a month. And many of the larger centers, we're there twice a month to let them know that we're there. We meet them at the local municipal office, and it's actually quite a popular way to get a hold of us.
Great, great.
What are the steps in applying, Kay, for the C program, for anybody watching?
Well, first of all, you have to be on income assistance or UI. That's a definite. And what we do is we'd like them to come into the office or call us, and we have an information package that we would give to them. They would fill out we have a business summary form, which is just a brief description of the business, which they would fill out. And that's reviewed for priority sectors, because there's certain sectors that we'll fund first, being that we have such a large area. And with that business summary form, we like to see letters of support attached to it from prospective customers that will use the products or the services that they want to provide, so that it shows there is a market for the business. And then we also like to see letters of support from existing businesses that may be competitors to this business, because it is a job creation program and we don't want to have any detrimental effect on any existing businesses in the area. Once the business summary is reviewed, then they're invited, and if they're accepted, then they're invited to attend a business plan workshop where we'll teach them how to do a business plan. And once they have that completed, then they bring it into our office for review, and if it's accepted, they go on to the program and start their business.
Excellent. I think we're going to go to our first break. You and Michael were out on the road on Monday.
And we visited a couple of your clients, and we're just going to show a clip of 2 or 3 of them now and then have another break later on. We're just going to cut to that.
My name is Linda LaPlante, and my partner is my sister-in-law, Nancy Lewis, and we just felt that there needed something like this in town. We've looked around, and you don't have a shop like this in Trail or Castlegar. The closest one we know of is over in Cranbrook, and I've lived over there for about 20 years, and we just think we found a real niche in the market here, and we think we're going to do really well.
Great. Now, how did you hear about KREDA, and what was their involvement with you?
I actually, over in Kimberley, had a friend who had been on a KREDA grant helping to get her business going, and that's how I originally heard about it. And when I moved back here in June, I started making applications, and from the time I inquired about it, it took, I'd say, about a month and a half. And it's been a real help for me just to have a living allowance, and because as you can see, we have a lot of stock in here, and it's, you know, it's quite an investment for us.
So aside from, you're on the SEA program, I presume?
Yes, I am.
Aside from that, what other help do they provide in helping you establish the business?
Kay is my counselor, and if I have any trouble or anything, I can phone her. They're just really good. They're there for you. We're having seminars. I've taken one on marketing. I've taken one on bookkeeping. We have several more coming up, and I just find it's a real learning experience because myself and my partner have never done anything like this before. We're just kind of diving in there, so it's just really new to us.
Did they help set up a business plan for you? Or?
No, you have to do that yourself, and that's part of the learning experience. And I think through doing your own business plan, it really opens your eyes, and you start seeing where your money is going to go, what it's going to cost you, and they prefer you to do it on your own, which I think is good. It's really hard work, let me tell you. It's not easy.
So, and the types of products you're selling in the store, basically, how would you describe what the store sells?
Wonderful stuff. A little of everything. We've got a really good line of pots and pans, stainless steel. We have cast iron. We have non-stick. We have beautiful glassware. We have some unusual hand-carved animals from the Philippines and Bali. We have recycled glass in here. We have a great line of candles. We have everything from pot racks to candelabras, unique decorating ideas. If you need a teapot, we have it. We have the color you want, the style you want. You just have to come in and see what we have. We have a wonderful line of gourmet foods, and we will do a gift basket up for you if you like, or you can come in and pick out all your little, items that you prefer and make up your own gift basket.
Well, thank you very much, Linda. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Hi, Morrie. I'm Bruce Van Hellemond with Van Hellemond Sports. We actually have 2 companies. One is called Kootenay Glacier Sportswear, and we manufacture everything from hockey uniforms to sportswear and jackets, which is in the last year has been more jackets and things like that. We got involved with KREDA about 2 or 3 years ago when we took on a couple of large jobs with a couple of ski hills, and therefore we needed more cutting capacity and a couple of more sewing machines, and we needed them reasonably quickly, and we were able to do that. I think Wayne Schweitzer was involved at the time, and he helped us through the steps of like a feasibility study, and we were able to purchase equipment reasonably quickly, and because we had the jobs and we needed to get the product out. So it's been very helpful that way, and As a matter of fact, right now we're probably in the same boat again. We need another piece of equipment that we're doing a bit of a study on again, but I don't think it ever ends when it comes to equipment. Well, we've been in the business actually of manufacturing goods in about 8 years now. We've taken our time, and because learning how to process and bring in raw materials and cut them and put them together and do a quality job isn't something that just happens. It takes time. You have to work out bugs, and sometimes fabrics aren't right and things aren't right that way. Patterns aren't right. And, getting people trained to do jobs in an orderly fashion. And so we've just now, I'd say in the last year and a half to 2 years, are starting to get up to speed that we can start pumping out more stuff and start maybe blowing our horn a little more, do a little more marketing. And so.
Great. And where do you sell your products?
We have accounts as far away as Vancouver Island in BC, and we ship into Alberta and as far away as the Air Force Base in Moose Jaw. We've done work there, and then of course around this area we do quite a bit. It's been our bread and butter to do up the valley, say to Caslow and the Slocan Valley, New Denver, and the Cuspin Trail at Castlegar. Kootenay Glacier Sportswear actually manufactures these. Our sales office here in Nelson looks after the sales of it, whether by phone or whatever. We also sell through a few other stores in other cities, and these are all screen printed. We also do screen printing out at our other shop out at Long Beach. This machine is meant for doing 1 and 2 pieces, maybe 3, so that's, then this is embroidery work. Each design has to have a tape punched that looks something like this. The machine I was showing you in there does this type of lettering on plastic, and it also does the engraving for trophies. That we do supply quite a number of trophies in the area.
Great. Good evening again. Welcome back to Nelson Nightline. Our guests tonight are Ray Paul and Kay Ryan from KREDA. We just showed you a clip of some of the clients that they serve, and we're going to show a couple more later on in the show. Welcome back to the show, Ray and Kay.
Thank you.
Ray and Kay, it was a tongue
Ray and
twister.
Kay and
What are the most unusual businesses? You must, I mean, people cross your path every day, I guess. Any really weird and unusual businesses that you can talk about?
Well, we talked earlier about a Lamatrek company, and
Well, that's not weird. They're
it's
very
not weird, but
successful.
it's a very
different.
different
Yeah,
style
it's
of
different,
business.
yeah.
It's not one that you would find every day.
Yeah.
It's I think it's indicative of the Kootenays that there are a lot of really unique business ventures that are tried here that are successful because there's an interest in the product or service that they have. And I think that for people that are thinking about business ventures, that they really need to use their imaginations. There are lots of opportunities that are missed if they don't let their imaginations run wild, and make sure they check all of the options that might be out there.
For instance, anything comes to mind that somebody's sitting out there?
Well, for example, it's probably not an area that you would expect to have a lot of high-tech professional services, and yet we have some excellent people in the very immediate area around Nelson that do international business in the computer programming. We have several companies that are domiciled here, that professionals that have just chosen to live in the area because of lifestyle and to decide that, hey, they can do their business at their home using modern technology through the telephone line, and they find themselves able to connect themselves to computer systems all around the world and do very credible work very competitively, and yet they can still live here in the Kootenays.
So anything goes if they can put it down on paper, give you a business plan, and show some potential. It's come and see you.
Definitely, we want to talk to them. Yes.
Right.
And you said earlier they have to be turned down by a chartered bank and the FBDB
Actually,
prior to...
the requirement officially is a turn down from the Federal Business Development Bank. We like to encourage businesses, if they're existing businesses, to talk to their chartered bankers to make sure that there's a good relationship there, because if KREDA can provide term financing, businesses will still many, many times require good operating credits. And those are things that we're not able to provide, and those have to be provided by the chartered banking industry. So we want them to maintain a good relationship with their chartered bank or credit union.
Why, though, specifically do they need to be turned down by the FPDB? Is there any special reason?
The funding that we use is available to us through the Employment Immigration Department. KREDA itself is a nonprofit society, but we contract with Employment and Immigration under the Community Futures Program. The Federal Business Development Bank is a Crown corporation, federally established in 1944. And I would suggest that the government wants them to have an opportunity to look at the deal first. They are the primary lending player, if you will, in Canada in business lending as far as the federal government, their involvement is concerned, and I think they want the FBDB to have a good look at it first. If for any reason the FBDB is not able to do it because of their policy or lending criteria, then it frees us up to have a look at it.
What about your interest rates?
Interest rates are, I was talking to a gentleman today, and I was quite surprised. We have a standard interest policy of charging prime plus 2.5. And in the first 3 months, if a business will submit a profit and loss statement to us on a monthly basis, we'll actually reward them by dropping that rate by 0.5% down to prime plus 2. And we've had several discussions in the office about whether or not we were too high or too low, and at the board level. And I had a gentleman call me today and mention that he had talked to his chartered bank, and you folks are quite competitive. So we were quite impressed the fact that we weren't actually too high or too low, that we're right in the ballpark. Many people ask us about why we don't offer subsidized rates. And I think it's something that was tried in the past. And for the most part, I think most institutions that looked at that found that it was a non-viable way to put money into the business world. What it created was a false economy, where a business would go into a venture with a subsidized rate, in essence, basically a reduction of their expenses, and finding at the end of that subsidy that the jump up to the current reality was more than their business could handle, and it came back many times to cause them trouble. And so I'm not aware of any programs that are available either federally or provincially at the current time that have subsidized rates. We're basically looking at, if we're going to set up businesses, we want them to succeed in the marketplace within real parameters that everybody else is facing as well.
Well, you'd be faced with the competitive edge from other businesses. They wouldn't, I guess, appreciate that.
Well, that's true. We're not in the business of trying to steal lending opportunities away from those that are, the commercial lenders. We're there strictly to try and help people create employment opportunities.
On this competitive issue, I mean, I'm sure there's every business that applies to you has a competitor in the market there. How do you go about getting the approval from these people to open another business that may be a competitor?
Well, actually, with the loans program, because the rates aren't subsidized, and because we're looking at job creation, we don't require lending clients to go out and get letters of support from their competition. The SEA program, and Kay can give you the details on that, does require that because it's funded under a different program. But as far as we're concerned, if a business is coming to us and the funding is not available, then they have every option, as far as we're concerned, to go into the marketplace and to try, to establish themselves in free market society.
Okay. And in the SEA program, how do you resolve that issue
Well, like I
with the
mentioned
competitors?
earlier, what we do with when they apply for the program and go through the priority sector review is they get letters of support from their competitors.
They do, eh?
Now, the majority of their competitors, because we've got to look at the other side too, is if the community on the whole wants the business to start, then we have to look at their needs as well. And it is surprising, we do get letters from all the competitors usually. People think it's strange to have to go out and ask for them, but like I mentioned, we are a job creation program, and if we feel we're hurting an existing business in any way, then we won't be gaining any jobs for our community.
Good. And how long does one have to be on some sort of employment assistance to get into your program? Or
As soon as they have to go to the government for assistance, either on UI or income assistance, they are then eligible for our program.
is there a time limit, I guess, if you're off those programs?
You just have to be receiving or eligible to receive.
Right.
We saw in the Cottonwood Kitchen tape, I haven't been in there, by the way, it makes me want to go in there.
Good place to do your Christmas shopping.
Linda LaPlante,
That's
was
correct.
it? She mentioned bookkeeping
Yeah,
courses
some of the
that
other
you were
services
offering.
that we offer our clients when they go on to the C program is we give them business management seminars. And we have a number of topics that we give them, and it's always in 1 or 2 day blocks so that they don't have to take a lot of time off of their business. And they're in subjects like bookkeeping or marketing, customer service, product pricing and inventory control, business writing skills. There's about 20 topics that we'll offer for them. And we also give them one-on-one counseling. We'll actually go into their business and assist them in any way we can. And there's daycare assistance available to anybody that requires it.
Great.
And also new to this program that we didn't have on the old program is that we now have funds available to help someone that's disabled that wants to start a business. We can buy certain equipment that will help them get established in their business. And of course, my clients can also apply for the loans program like any client can.
Now, do you do the training yourself in terms
No,
of the bookkeeping and?
Although I do know how to do these things, we don't. I just don't have the time, so we hire private consultants to come in and do the courses. Ones that are used to putting on courses for a group of people.
What's the average size of your class?
Usually the classes run about 15 people. That way it's a nice class to answer questions and needs for the particular businesses.
Ray, on the BDC loans, what kind of security do you require?
It depends on the proposal that we're looking at. We've done loans where we've taken personal guarantees. We've had realty mortgage security, chattel mortgage security. It just depends on what the program of financing is that we're looking at. One of the things that we are prepared to do, and I think do quite regularly, is that we are prepared to look at a higher level of risk than the conventional lending institutions, because we recognize that there are good ideas out there that may not fit the standard criteria that may be the status quo in the lending industry at the time. And we're trying, from our point of view, to create jobs. That's our primary focus. And so we're willing to take a little bit higher level of risk than maybe would be normally available in the community.
You mentioned the number of businesses and job creations within Central Kootenay at the beginning of the program. What would those numbers be specifically for Nelson, or Nelson and area?
The numbers I can give you just off the top of my head are for Nelson, the North Shore, immediately around the city. But in the last 6 years, of the 2.8 million, about $1 million has been spent in the west arm of the Kootenays, up to including Balfour and Castle, that area. We're looking at 53 businesses and 222 jobs.
It's very impressive.
22 jobs, that's wonderful. And all of them doing well?
Can't say all of them are doing well. We've had a few casualties, as you expect, but the vast majority of them are still going.
Okay.
As you see, some of the businesses that you talked to in your interview tonight have been with us for a long time or are no longer clients.
Yeah, well, Van Hellemond, I think, has been in business 8 or 12 years, and he approached you halfway through his business career to just get a loan to boost him up to his next level of production. I had an opportunity to expand and approached you and make an established business.
That's one of the things that we find many of our clients doing, is that they will come to us to get started. And as they grow in financial strength and success, then they're many times attractive clients for the chartered banking industry to pick up. And many times we'll find that we act as the catalyst to get the business going. And within a year or two, as their profitability is evident, then the conventional sources will be able to take over. Many times we won't have our loans go to full fruition. They'll be paid out as the business is able to obtain additional capital from the chartered banks.
Okay, do you find a lot of women coming in looking to start start businesses?
Yeah, actually it's about a 50-50 split between our clients. I think it's 53% are men and 47% women.
And who does better in the long haul? I've heard those stats. I want to know if
yeah, it's a hard one to answer. Actually, yeah, statistics are showing, though, in the country as a whole, that women are very good entrepreneurs.
I've heard that.
I would imagine that the percentage has increased over the past 6 years in terms of women.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
Yep, I see it every year.
We're going to take another break and have a look at three more.
Who did you visit this time?
We went to a company called Mee Too Clothing, which manufactures kids wear for people with different types of disabilities, kids and actually adults too. New and used on Front Street, and the best of all, the chocolate,
Nelson
Chocofellar. We had him on the show once.
Yes.
I went on this one
They're my
purposely.
next door neighbors.
So we're going to roll again, see a couple more clients of KREDA, and then we'll be back live.
My name is Tom Burns, and our company is called Mee Too Clothing, and we're a clothing company that is designed specifically for children with physical disabilities and adults, elderly to basically all adults who may have range of motion difficulties, meaning, say, if they were in braces or had cerebral palsy or spina bifida or severe arthritis. The clothes have basically seam openings, and so that makes it easier for people to get into and out of the clothes.
And how long ago did you start this company?
We started the idea about 1.5 years ago, and first we had to put a business plan together in order to get our financing in place. And this is where KREDA came in. They helped us basically almost every step of the way. They helped us with counseling in terms of the business plan, and of course encouragement and leads on terms of how to market and how to basically get a business off the ground. And they've helped us. We basically keep in touch with them, you know, every month or so we go, and Ray gives us information or we have a need, so we go there. The clothes have seam openings. In this particular garment, which is a sweatpant, this particular seam opens on the outside, and it can go all the way up. So, for example, if you had braces or a cast, or if you had decatheter products, it'd be easier to get things on and off. Another option would be garments like this, where it opens through the back. So the person, if they had problems with moving their arms, range of motion difficulties, they can get in through the back much easier. Another type of garment would be with a standard shirt. They have Velcro tabs, so people don't have to deal with the buttons. So if you have arthritis or your quad and your hands are have difficulty opening things, the Velcro tabs are really handy. Now this is a...
Kids features?
Well, this is an adult. Actually, this is a flannel sleeping gown, and it opens like this. The design is basically so that there is no pressure points on the person's body, and also to get in and out of easy. Which means the opening is quite deep, as you can see, so that if a person has, again, range of motion difficulties, it's easy to get the arm in and out of. And the wraparound collar, which comes all the way around. And it's this is also a 16-ounce polar fleece, so it's very warm.
Good.
I'm Jean Hunter from Nelson New and Used. I got involved with KREDA in, I believe, March 2 years ago. I was, at that time, unable to find a job in this area, so I decided I would start up a business. And this is what I knew the most about, so I decided to start this business. A new and used store, and we sell collectibles and a real variety of things. KREDA set me up to go to a training course. It was a 2-week course over in Castlegar. It was 12 hours a day or something like that. And it was for 2 weeks, and it really helped a lot because it kind of took the fear of the bookkeeping end of it out of it. Plus, there was a lot of really good stuff in that course. They were there, you know, if I needed advice and to help me out with other things, and they've helped me with some flyers and stuff since that time. Also, initially, I was on the SIU grant, and they helped me get that through, which is through Canada Manpower. And it just was a real big help to me.
So you've been in business for how long now?
1.5 years.
And you're finding KREDA still helping you?
No, I'm pretty well doing it on my own now. You know, I know if I need something I can phone there, but basically I don't usually need too much.
Hi, I'm Hollie from Nelson's Chocofellar. My partner in business is Sam Lazenby. We run together a small chocolate making company in Nelson. We use Belgian chocolate and specialize in handmade Canadian chocolates. We came to know the KREDA group through trying to explore possibilities of opening a small business in Nelson, and they helped us an awful lot with an SEI grant through the first year of business, and made it possible for us to buy some equipment and rent a kitchen and get started on our own, and it's been very successful for us. We've lots of hard work, and we've grown from the small beginnings that we've started, but there's also an awful lot more room to grow as well.
So you're looking at future expansion as well then?
We would like to. I think we have room to expand now in the new kitchen that we built last year. So the market is there for expansion as well. So that should happen after our busy season now.
Which is?
Probably from now to November right through to the end of Easter time, Father's Day, Mother's Day. Only then will it slow down enough so we can consider some expansion time after that.
Welcome back to Nelson Nightline. Tonight our guests are Ray Paul and Kay Ryan from KREDA. We just saw some of the different
How many
sites we visited.
chocolates did you eat down there?
Two, only two. Michael and I each had two. We saved that for the last, and we knew that was going to be worth it. Lovely stuff.
Oh, it's excellent.
Well, I think
It
they're
is
going to be
good
very
chocolate.
successful. They certainly seem to be working very hard. All of the different people we visited, all of them seem to be established in whatever niche they've chosen, and everything seems to be market niche there. Small businesses are the ones I saw that we visited. But you have some big ones. What's your interaction with Kootenay?
Well, for example, as I mentioned earlier, when we got involved with Kootenay several years ago, it was as a partner with other lending institutions. And basically, it's a matter of we were able to provide sort of the capstone of a package that helped them with a program that they were involved with. And at this point, we don't have a lot of interaction with them. They're a successful Kootenay company that's interacting on their own, and we were able just basically to provide some funding for them. It wasn't a matter of a counseling service or anything like that. It was a matter of they were looking at a proposal and there needed to be just a little extra funding put in place to make that a reality, and we were able to provide that for them.
What other success stories right here in Nelson? I know Kootenay Co-op.
Yes, actually,
its beginnings with you as well.
Yeah, and they've, as anybody who's a resident in Nelson will know, they've just had a fabulous move in a new location, and it's been really a positive thing for them and for the community, I think. And it's the idea that a small business was able to get started, and because they've picked their market niche well and worked hard, success has come to them.
Well, they must be as big as the supermarkets. They do $1.5 million business a year. Quite a big operation right now.
Yep, and they're dealing with the special requirements of a segment of the population that are looking for good, wholesome food products. A lot of organic products that they're providing, and again, it's a significant testimony of the fact that people who have good imagination can look at the marketplace and identify something that people would like to have that's not there, can bring that to fruition as a successful business.
Another one of my favorites is the Alleyway Cafe. And I know the new owners are not KREDA clients, but it got its start with KREDA. Is that?
Yep. Actually, that was, at the time, many people said, how could you possibly put another restaurant in Nelson? But the Alleyway was a program that came to us. The lady that established the business from the beginning had a desire to create a completely and totally vegetarian restaurant. It was a very great source of pride to her that there would never been meat products cooked in that kitchen, ever. And she felt that there was enough of a marketplace out there, that there were enough vegetarians in the area that would appreciate a solely vegetarian restaurant. And I think she's done her market work well. It turned out that there were exactly that number of people who were able to support and sustain that business. It has changed hands, and the new owner, I'm sure, is looking on to as much success as the previous owner has.
Excellent.
How far, we're coming to the end of the year, how far into the year, if anybody is interested in coming to see you now, is there a year-to-year program? Are you on a budget per year that as the year runs out, is just the end of your programs for this one?
As far as lending funding goes, no. We have the opportunity, because of the fact that the fund is now locally controlled and is large enough that we have some flexibility in it. Our operational funding, of course, runs to the end of our fiscal year, which is January 31st, and we hope that the powers that be will see fit to make sure that's renewed. But as far as business applications, we will accept business applications anytime. And there is no, at this point in our life, in the organization, we don't have a restriction on the amount of funding that we can lend out. In the future, that could be a possibility. If we find that demand for funding is greater than the strength of the portfolio, we may end up having to restrict the amount of funding that we can lend out. But right now, we have funds to lend, and we're anxious to lend them out.
And you report directly to, is it the Canadian Unemployment? Who is your
Actually,
overall?
The KREDA organization, as I said earlier, is a nonprofit society, so our direct reporting is to a volunteer board that sit as the board of directors for KREDA, and that society has a contract with the Community Futures Program of Employment and Immigration Canada.
Yeah,
and so they contract to provide a level of service that is established under the program, and there are guidelines that we need to follow to make sure that we are operating the program properly. But within those guidelines, we run pretty much autonomously as the board of directors. It helps us to establish local policy for lending, and the activities that we're doing are pretty much governed by the local needs.
What about that same question for the seed program, Kay? You must have a certain cap per year.
Oh, many contracts? Yes, we're allowed to fund 60 businesses each year from the Central Kootenay region. And we get always more inquiries than what we can fund, but each year we get our 60 contracts out.
How far along are you in the year as it runs out? I mean, should people be knocking on the doors
Well, what
tomorrow?
we do is we set a quota that we'll do 5 each month, so we never do actually run out.
All right, so.
Yeah.
What about the sectors you mentioned?
Priority sectors? Well, we have different sectors that we'll fund first, being manufacturing, agriculture, ventures, tourism, manufacturing or secondary processing. And then we'll also look at retail and service businesses that don't already exist or where there appears to be a community need for another one.
In looking at the stats, I forget if they were the BDC or SEA, there seemed to be a higher percentage in the service and manufacturing sectors.
Yeah, those are actually just about equal.
Yeah.
At least for my program they are.
Much the same for the BDC loans program. This area of the Kootenay seems to be a very strong service-oriented economy. One of the things that we're also trying to encourage is new manufacturing ventures, because manufacturing ventures have the advantage of bringing in revenue to the local economy from outside if they're exporting their province or their products out of, not even the province, but out of the Kootenay area. It brings in, outside capital into the local economy.
Trickle-in effect.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we have really talented people living in the Central Kootenays. I mean, it's amazing. Every day you think you've seen it all until another one comes in. And
comes across your door with
That's right.
What's the most unique one you've seen?
You
really want to know that, don't you?
I'm curious to see.
Well, actually, I've been thinking about that since you talked to Ray about it. And there is a fellow that we have that has been making products out of recycled metal, I guess you would call it. And he just recently went to the Creative Arts Show in Vancouver, which is in the BC place. And he was at that particular show selling stickmen made out of metal, and they had their palm out, and in it would sit a candle. And they just ate them up. I mean, that was really successful for him. And what's happening is he's selling them to the higher priced craft stores in the bigger centers, to the executives. And I can just imagine all these little stickmen, and they're like skiers or golfers or any kind of sports figure, just unusual little stickmen with this little candle in their hand, and I can see them all across the country in all these executive offices.
That's wonderful. Exporting our products, again, another way. Yes. Is there any types of loans that you just off the top you'll refuse straight out if somebody comes in, just to save people time?
Well, anything to do with sex, politics, or religion, we can't touch.
You can't touch it.
And we have had the opportunity to send every one of them, every one of those categories away.
Any legitimate business, but no mobile body houses or anything like that, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every now and then we'll have, I know we had an inquiry a while ago for an outlet in Nelson that was going to have all sorts of tasteful lingerie.
Okay.
And when it turned out there was a little closer inspection, it was something that just we couldn't touch. And I noticed it wasn't started, so maybe there were a few other folks that felt the same way. But we do have some guidelines, as I said, that anything to do with specific religious affiliations or any sort of sexuality is just not appropriate for public funding, and so we're not able to do them.
How many people come in, if you have, how many, out of the total number of people that come in, how many do you actually put a loan in through? What percentage would that be?
It's hard to say. It's not a statistic I can give you off the top. I know that Kay's program tracks them. If I'm not mistaken, you had over 600 inquiries last year.
Yeah, there's usually between 500 and 600 inquiries.
So 10% get
right,
get
but a lot of those
assistance in
people, they're not that sincere about possibly wanting to start a business when they realize that, no, we just don't hand out money. I mean, we do expect them to research their business and prepare a business plan. Actually, we're really sticky about that. I mean, because it's important. I mean, you can't,
for their own sake,
you can't use
understand
government
it.
funds to start up something where a person hasn't put a lot of thought to it. And I can't even imagine why anybody would want to start a business if they haven't thought it out, because they're putting a lot of time and effort and money of their own into the business as well. And you know, failure to plan is a plan to failure. I mean, you've got to, you know, be prepared when you go into business.
Now, the people that are coming into your office more than Ray's are definitely novice business people. So
That's
I guess
correct.
you have to wean them along the way.
Yeah, we do give a lot of assistance at the start of the business. Like you noticed with some of our clips here tonight, that some of them are fine and they're off on their own now, and others that, like say in their first year, we do spend a lot of time with them.
But that training and counseling is reflective upon the success rate, I would
Right,
think.
the one that Jean mentioned was the program that we tried a couple of years ago, where we put them into an intensive 2-week program. And
she mentioned 12 hours a day.
It really was, and it was extremely difficult, and it overloaded your system, let's say, with information. So that's why we're finding now that it's easier just to take a 1 or 2 day workshop and on one particular topic and go from there.
Spread it out through
That's
the
right.
year.
They absorb more that way.
Okay, does the government deduct anything off your benefits when
No.
your business starts earning income?
No, that's the beauty of this program, is that the government realized that they were going to be paying you either your UI or income assistance to begin with, and because jobs are so scarce in this area, that they want to give you the opportunity to create that job for yourself and hopefully become self-sustaining and never need government assistance again.
So if you're on UIC, what is it, 52 weeks you're eligible
That's right.
for? So in the 50th week, you could come and apply to the C program? Or do you have to start at the beginning?
No,
of your benefit?
to go through our complete program, it does take some time, because like I say, we have a quota of 5 per month that we can fund. So if somebody wants to leave it till the last minute, they're probably going to be too late. We like to see them preparing at least 3 or 4 months ahead of time, because that's about how long it takes to prepare a good business plan.
Now, you mentioned Paul Weist in your office as the business analyst. Does he tie in with your program at all in terms of counseling your clients, or strictly the BDC clients?
No, he's strictly with the loans program.
Yeah, Paul, actually, his job is to do a lot of the analysis work on the lending proposals that come into the office. We share that role, but his function is predominantly that, and basically most of the larger deals that come into the office will cross his desk, and he will do the analysis on them, and then bring them in for recommendation onto the board for approval or decline.
Now, you'll actually sit down with clients in the office and do cash flows on the computer and work with them in that way as well. Is that correct?
Yes, if the big crunch there is time availability, and but if they have the patience and the willingness to work within the time frame that we have available, definitely we will sit down. We've done that with many clients, where we will sit down and have them bring their forecast ideas and their estimate of expenses in. We'll formalize them on the computer so they can actually see what the benefits are. It gives us the opportunity to play with the numbers. If we find that they've made some assumptions that may be wrong, or maybe too conservative, which is quite common in forecasting for a new business. They may want to look at some options. What happens if I change this focus of my business or that focus? So when it's on the computer, it's nice to do it that way, because they can see the immediate result of that change in focus.
Do you provide any fee for service, like that someone wants to develop a business plan but could access monies through the chartered bank, that you would help them develop their business plan to go to that next step?
Technically, we haven't done a fee for service in that regard. The option is there. We try not to put out too much of a burden. Most of our clients are people that are just getting started, and money is near and dear, as we all know. And at this point, we haven't charged them to do business plans. We should qualify that by saying we're not also providing them with a published package either. We're letting them do the work, and we're acting as a mentor, as a guideline for them, somebody to bounce ideas off of and to work with as sort of an ongoing guide. So We don't really charge for it. If we were going to do that, we would find that the amount of time we'd be able to deal with general public inquiries would be diminished. So that's one of the reasons why we haven't gone ahead and got into a sort of a fee-for-service or a contract business plan program.
Now, I've been to your office, and along the wall you have a lot of resources. Is that one of the services you provide, just resource space for small businesses to know where to go to find things and direct them for things?
Yeah, the front office has a large information display that has pamphlets on programs that are available. Some of them are financial, but some of them are simple things like information on the GST program. How do I set up a GST number when you're a new business? Where do I get contact for registering my business name? Or are there specific programs that might be science and technology, for example? Could I contact them to get some support in developing a product that I might have in mind?
How do you tie in with the other agencies within this region, or in fact within the province, in terms of the economic development arm? Like the Chamber has the Business Information Center. Pardon me. Do you work closely with those other agencies?
Well, with me, I specifically work closely with the Ministry of Social Services, the Canada Employment Centres, disabled groups, the Aboriginal Indian Band Council over in Creston, groups like that. Chamber of Commerce we do visit, but with my program it is for brand new businesses, so Ray may visit more with the Chambers of Commerce because those are already existing businesses and municipal councils and economic development commissions, things like that.
We're always interested in a strong relationship with the communities because we recognize that each community in Central Kootenay has its own goals and aspirations, and they have their own interests as far as businesses that they would like to see started or expanded in their communities. Nelson, for example, is a very strong service sector. Many of the other businesses, Creston, for example, is a very strong agricultural sector, and the Cusp is very strong in the forestry. So each of those various communities will have their own needs. And our interest is, of course, is to be there as a form of assistance to the community as a whole, and that includes the Chamber, the Executive Council of the community, the Mayor and the Village Council, economic development commissions that may or may not be organized in that community. I'd definitely like to have a working relationship as a partner with them.
Well, again, the success rate, if I can remember, 126 businesses, 500 and some odd.
49?
549
jobs, $28 million you've put into the business community, and also you said a 2-to-1 on that. Every business that has started up has put $2 for every dollar used, so that's $2, $4, $6, $7.5 million in 6 years into the community.
And that's just on the loans program.
Yeah.
The SCA program, we've put in almost $3 million and
That's
257 businesses and 433 jobs.
So $10 million
So you
right
add
there.
them together, that's right.
$12 million, and successful businesses that are running for the most part, which is good. People that wouldn't have perhaps had a job before or been able to start their own business without help from you guys.
I think that's the most significant aspect of this, is it's the success rate through both of your programs.
I'd like to thank you both for being on the air. I hope we've provided some people with some ideas and insight. Maybe we'll get some new businesses kind of started because of you again. It's been a pleasure.
Look forward to it.
Maybe your phone will be ringing off the hook tomorrow.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to apply.
That's for sure. It's appreciated.
Again, thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
And I guess we're back again in 2 weeks.